Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Warrior Training Series. Today, day 7, we're going to talk about holding space. I know I kind of touched on this in one of the first few days, but I wanted to come back to it because this one's super important, especially for those of us that are stepping into the spiritual warrior space. Is holding space, and what does that mean? And how do we hold space for others? Because as you become a spiritual warrior, you are doing exactly that. You are becoming that warrior for others. And so what I want to do, I want to share is, what does that look like when you hold space for someone else? So when somebody shares something, it's the same thing as like if somebody asks you advice, instead of giving them the answer, and this is also really helpful in reflection of day 6 yesterday, we were talking about connection, is allowing somebody else to find their own answer, right? So that's kind of holding space. It's not fixing, it's not giving advice, it's just being present. So if somebody's sharing something, a story, an aha moment, or something they're going through, holding space is simply for that. And the other day I was watching a video, and it was a gentleman that was a speaker. And what he talked about is this woman who was sharing I don't even know the name of the speaker, actually. I watched that video and I'm not sure who it was. But he was somebody that was in this kind of space and in personal development. And this woman had shared about the fact that she was holding on to this anger towards a caretaker that she had had when she was younger, and the judgment of that, and trying to figure out what that means, what that looks like, what was going on there. She wanted to find the root cause and wanted to get rid of the anger, obviously, from holding on to this anger with this person. And everybody in the room, there was at least 30, 40 people in the room, if not more. It was probably hundreds. I don't know. I just thought that first, her and the gentleman speaking. But what all of those people did is, as she expressed and he asked questions for clarity, and as she started to dig a little deeper, it wasn't so much that she had anger towards that person. It was the hurt. That was like, because the fear and the anger is always the surface coping mechanism, but it's going in deeper and understanding what she needed to hear herself. So that's what this holding space was for. Everybody in that room was holding space for her. They were present. They didn't speak. They didn't share their opinions or their thoughts. They didn't add pressure. They just sat there in silence, holding space for her to understand what was going on. And then very quickly, when she realized that the room was a safe space, she broke out into tears because they just held quiet space for her. So holding space for others, first of all, we need to hold space for ourselves. Most of us aren't very good at dealing with our emotions or even facing our emotions. So what does that mean when we sit and hold space for ourselves? Sitting with the emotions. When you're going through any of these reflection questions, if an emotion comes up, sit with it. This is part of the sacred shift that I talked about. The whole purpose of that method is basically to sit in the discomfort, because it is usually the place that we avoid. So by going through that space, sitting in that feeling, that emotion, we realize the undercurrent, what's sitting under it, what we're avoiding in that space by using anger or frustration, all these other things. So I want you to sit with the emotion, and I want you to witness, just observe the thoughts without judging them, without reacting to them, that come up. Letting the discomfort, because we tend to avoid it like the plague, letting this discomfort sit is part of the growth. And that's why we get into these programs, we start learning about ourselves, and we learn all this information, because we were taught at a young age that we needed to collect information, go to school, collect information, so we go to personal development programs to collect more information. That is not the purpose of them. The purpose of them is for us to have that awareness that we talked about yesterday through that connection, understanding, and then it's about witnessing the thoughts as they come in. It's about feeling the feelings that come up. It's not about the information and knowing the information and reciting it consciously. It's about sitting with that discomfort and not rushing to answer, rushing to judgment, which is what we've done, right? So spiritual growth is not like you're not meant to do this on your own. Like I said, this gentleman, when he was asking her these questions, one, he was just reflecting herself back to her, right? He wasn't really giving her answers. He was just asking the right questions to give her clarity so she could answer the questions herself. And so she couldn't have come to that conclusion on her own. Because in that point, we go through life with our own filter, our own awareness. And at that point, all she was doing was trying to figure out in the same perspective she's always looked at it. She needed him to reflect it back in a different way, not to judge her, not to give advice, but to ask a question. That's what really good coaches are for, is to ask questions that reflect and help you reflect. That's why you're getting these questions in this training, by the way. It's not meant to be done alone. When you heal out loud, when you have conversations, you also, like having people hold space for you, it gives you permission to process. Sometimes we get caught up in our head. And when you listen to your own words, right? It's very healing because we don't even know. Like if we're in our own head, we aren't aware, but when we speak it out loud, it tends to be easier to become aware of. And when we listen deeply to ourselves, we feel seen. That's the hearing we need. That's the healing we need to have. That's where this woman, when she was expressing this experience, she needed to feel seen. Not by everyone in that room, not by the caretaker that was holding her, or that she was putting the responsibility on of having to solve this or having to do this in a different way than it could have happened. She needed to be seen through that process. And it doesn't need to be perfect. And we never get to the point where we're completely healed. It is a journey and not a destination. But what we're doing in this process is we're not suppressing the feelings. We're being present with them. We're doing it in a way where we're grounded, we're present, and we're open to receive the answers. Again, talking about the connection from yesterday. So this is why when like I said, the last few days, I've talked about the sacred shift method. There is an opportunity where you can get access to it and just go through it on your own. But I highly encourage you. There is also an option to opt into the community, because the community is where you get personal reflection from shared experiences. Again, it's a safe container, a safe space for have other people to hold space for you to explore your truth and ask deeper questions of yourself in a space where other people are doing the same thing and feel heard and understood. And it also is a practice for you to be able to hold space for others while they are doing their healing. So there is an opportunity for that. Again, if you're interested, please feel free to message me, drop a comment below. I will connect with you, book a call with me, whichever that is, and I will talk to you about it. But today, what I want you to do, I want you to think about one person who's going through something that might be hard, that might be difficult. And I'm going to encourage you to reach out. Or if somebody expresses something throughout your next couple of days, if somebody expresses something, I want you to practice this holding space for others. So if you know somebody that's going through something, reach out to them. If not, wait until something comes to you. There always is somebody, because if you're here, you're a reflection of me, or you're a like-minded person, and people are seeking you out as well. I want you to connect with them, but I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. And I want you to ask, do you want to talk about it, or just have somebody sit here and listen and then be fully present for them? I want you to do that. That's your homework for today. Let me know how it goes. Drop your thoughts, your awarenesses, how it went in the comments below. Hit subscribe and share this Spiritual Warrior series with somebody else who you think it might be helpful with. Maybe there's somebody else out there that is waiting for this, or even waiting to be heard. So thank you. Thank you for following along. Thank you for being part of this journey. And I'm so excited to chat more again tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next time.